It has nothing.
100%.
I mean, there's no social media platform. I mean, there's people that are trying to accuse Elon Musk of being right-wing, but I think that's just because Elon Musk has said that Democrats are out of their fucking minds.
He's said what I've said in many different ways. Now, I don't know how I go back and forth on how I feel about Elon. Sometimes I think he's genius. Other times, like, he may be getting a little full of himself. Like, I don't think he bought Twitter for the reasons he's saying he did, to be some great humanitarian. I think he bought it because he got mad almost, and then he tried to get out of it. But that's the other thing. Like, stop complaining on the left. He tried to withdraw from buying Twitter, and the CEO or whatever stuck him to the price because it made money, and they got a great price. So
they got a ridiculous price.
Ridiculous.
He gave them way more than it's worth, and he had a mindset of going into it. There was two things going on. One, he believed that it's very bad for democracy in general when you have suppression of free speech. And I agree with that. He really means that. And he sees it happening to him, right? And so he sees it happening to people that he knows and people whose voices he's respected. And he saw that, like, the Babylon Bee got banned.
Which is crazy.
Which is crazy.
Crazy.
For calling Rachel Levine the man of the year.
Yeah.
A biological male, calling him the male of the year. Like
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's so offensive.
The Babylon Bee getting kicked off, crazy. Yes.
Yeah, so he was like, well, that's enough. And then the reason why he tried to pull out of it, he's like, they're not giving me data on the actual amount of fake accounts.
Correct.
There was a former FBI guy. Pull up that story, Jamie. This former FBI guy estimated the actual amount of fake accounts on Twitter, and he was like, it could be as high as 80%. So if you're buying something, and they say, well, it's 95% people, it's 5% bots, but we're trying to figure that out. And he's like, how are you trying to figure that out? Show me. And they won't show him. And he's like, show me your data that shows you. And they show him 100 accounts. They went over 100 accounts. Over 80% of Twitter accounts are likely bots, former FBI security specialist, which is fucking wild. So if that's like 20% of the people on Twitter are actual humans and 80% of it is propaganda, either by publicity firms or super PACs or whoever the fuck is trying to manipulate narratives. And one of the things that you saw with Elon was, like, there's a bunch of tweets that people retweeted. They're from wildly different accounts that were all the exact same tweet. And he's like, these are bots. Like, these are...
There's 1,000% bots. Yeah. I mean, I went through a phase like you. I couldn't even... If I posted something, it was all bots. Yeah. 100%. So I don't there's 1,000,000% bots. They probably weren't giving the right information, but he did want to pull out.
Well, I think if they found out that information, Twitter would be worth substantially less.
Right.
And that's also what he was trying to do. I think he was trying to probably talk them into a better price. Because if you find out that a company is 95% horseshit,
right,
or 80% horseshit, and 20% what they say it is, like, if that gets out,
but
that's
he also
devastating to the company.
100%. He also has such fuck you money, though. He was upset about the suppressing, and I'd probably be the same way if I had that type of money. It's like, I'm just going to fucking buy you. Like, yeah. And that's essentially what he did. And I do think, like you said, the bots and going back and forth, he wanted to get out. That's the one thing, though, the Twitter pro-Twitter, everyone's like, I'm going to get off my dad was one of those guys. I'm leaving Twitter. It's like, what are you talking about, Dad?
Why was he leaving Twitter?
Because Elon. My dad, my dad is like a very liberal guy. Like, hated Trump. Hates him. Hated him before he became president. Just hate him. So I interviewed Trump, and I FaceTimed my dad. I tried to keep it a secret, and I like FaceTimed him when I was doing it just to see my dad's reaction. He turtled. My dad turtled when he saw him. He's like, "Oh, hi." But I mean, he hates him. But he's one of those guys, and my dad's one of those guys. So it's been interesting with my dad because I have been relentlessly attacked by the left, and he is a left guy. So we get in these little things. I'm like, do you still think the New York Times is like unbiased? And he can't answer. He's like, well, do you think Fox News is unbiased? I'm like, no, definitely not. But do you think the New York Times? He has a very hard time bringing himself to it. But it is eye-opening for him, I think.
I think it's eye-opening for a lot of people. But for a lot of people, for a long time, that information never got to them. They didn't really know. That's one of the most substantial and significant aspects of Elon buying Twitter is these files being released, where you're getting to see the actual involvement of intelligence agencies, the actual like banned lists and blocked lists and shadow banned and how they're suppressing people's signals. It's pretty fucking wild shit. And it's almost entirely done to people that are on the right.
Yeah.
And then the people that are on the left that are dissenters, right? The people that went along with the Great Barrington Declaration and didn't think that we should shut the country down during the pandemic. And the Great Barrington Declaration was
I have no idea what that is.
legitimate scientists, like top of the food chain, epidemiologists, virologists who said that we are handling the pandemic absolutely wrong. And then there was internal emails and memos from Fauci calling to publicly discredit these people who were legitimate, like absolute top of board scientists